ASMR. Hey everybody, I have not felt like making a video or even watching videos for a while. But I wanted to make a video today. I thought I need to find the second half of that, 20 or 25 creepy stories that I was reading you guys. But I haven't found it yet. So today, just really quick, I'm in my bedroom. The cat is on the bed. That's how low budget this video is. I thought I would read 25 disturbing, creepy, true stories. I have no idea what these are about. They look like they're really short, so let's check it out. Alright. A creepy true story can be more terrifying than a fictionalized one. The knowledge that these horrors actually took place puts an unsettling feeling in our stomachs. True. Causing us to toss and turn at night. From brutal... Are you serious? Are you serious? From brutal serial killers to creepy stalkers, there's been a number of scariest true stories through human history. Of course, monsters aren't always involved. Sometimes all it takes for true life horror stories to emerge is for tragedy to strike, or for a mystery to go unsolved. Whatever the case may be, here are 25 disturbing, creepy, true stories. I might have to disagree about them keeping us up at night. Well, me anyway, because this sounds really weird. I mean, yes, some things do scare me, like the thought of someone breaking in and hurting us or something like that. You know, that would keep me up at night, but for some reason, and I know I'm not the only one, for some reason, if I'm really stressed out at night and having a hard time sleeping, as disturbing as this sounds, reading about missing people or kidnappings or like celebrity death stories and stuff, for some reason, that knocks me right out, calms me down. It sounds messed up, but it's like a lot of other people say. If they went through their watch history from the ID channel or their bookshelf and saw all the crime story books, they'd think you were planning a murder or something, and you're not. Like, you wouldn't hurt a fly and you're scared of everything, but it's just weird, creepy, fascinating stuff. Anywho, I'll lower that sound. Watcher. When a New Jersey family moved into their 1905 colonial-style home, they received several threatening and creepy letters from someone called the Watcher. In the letters, the author referred to the family's 3 children by saying, The young blood you have brought to me, and have they found out what's in the walls yet? Fearing for their lives, the Brodus family moved out and sued the former owners for not telling them about the stalker Boba. Trapped. In the aftermath of Pearl Harbor, it was discovered by the military that sailors were trapped in the sunken USS West Virginia. Realizing there was nothing they could do to rescue the survivors, they told their families that they died during the attack. Months later, when they finally got inside, they found 3 men who'd found an airlock that survived for 16 days. It said no one wanted to guard the USS West Virginia because they could hear the banging of those trapped inside. That's messed up. That's the stuff of nightmares right there. That is seriously messed up. I cannot pronounce this. Isayasagawa. I don't know. This man is a cannibal from Japan that murdered and ate his friend in 1981 after years of dreaming about it. I'm sorry about my crazy hair. He said he'd really wanted to eat her living flesh. What's even more creepy and disturbing is he never went to jail for it and lives like a free man in Tokyo. Oh, there's my other cat. He said he eventually wants to eat humans again. Okay. Ew. Lamprey nightmare. I'm not recording the screen, but what I can describe is it's one of those creepy ocean creatures that looks like a tube. With like a mouth and teeth. In 2015, a creepy and strange thing happened to Fairbanks residents in Alaska. They found blood-sucking lampreys wiggling around on land, far from the water. Several accounts claim they found one in a parking lot and on someone's front lawn. No one really knows how they got out there, but wildlife officials think maybe seagulls picked them up and dropped them off later. That's creepy, but that would make sense if seagulls did that. Finger. This creepy story brings a whole new meaning to the Arby's catchphrase, "We have the meats." I'm sure a lot of people heard this one. In 2012, a young boy found a finger inside his Arby's sandwich when he bit into a piece of it. The finger belonged to an employee who sliced her finger while using a meat slicer and left it without telling anyone about it. How does that happen? How do you just... I mean, didn't that freaking hurt? How do you not scream, freak out, go into shock, have blood everywhere, and need people to, I don't know. Human hand. While cleaning out her grandparents' attic in Tampa, Mike Lopez's sister came across a disturbing find. A skeletal human hand with a ring on it. It was hidden in a box along with a map and gold coins. Even more disturbing, no one has been able to find out whose hand it was and if it's actually human at all. I think One-Eyed Willie put a ring on it. Bear Brook murders. In 1985, a hunter discovered a 55-gallon drum in Bear Brook State Park in New Hampshire. Inside, he found the bodies of a young 20-year-old woman and a small child aged 5 to 11. For years, authorities couldn't identify the bodies despite solid leads. Then 15 years later, another barrel was discovered in the same spot. Two children were found inside this drum, and they believe they're related to the woman. Police believe a man named Robert Evans could be the killer, but the case is still unsolved. That's really creepy. Screams in a casket. In Honduras, a 16-year-old started foaming at the mouth and was rushed to the hospital before being declared dead by the doctors. A day after her funeral and burial, her husband visited the grave and, to his surprise, heard banging and screams from within the casket. When family members tried to rescue her, they were too late. She died a second time and they had to rebury the casket. That's messed up. I mean, I've heard stories like that where someone died, well, someone like passes out in such a way that even doctors think they're dead. And if they're buried like the same day or the next day, like they could still wake up within a day or so. So that's really creepy. I don't know how to pronounce this either. Marcel Petit. This French serial killer took advantage of Jewish refugees during World War II by charging them a fee to escape Europe. He lured them into his home, injected them with poison, saying it was a vaccine, and watched them die. Afterward, he plundered their things and disposed of their bodies in his home furnace. Nearly 30 corpses were found in his home after the liberation of France, and he was dubbed Dr. Satan. That's seriously messed up. I mean, imagine that you think you have escaped and you're safe and you put your trust in someone and you just end up dying in a different horrific way than you would have if you hadn't have escaped. Hiding in the attic. In Tokyo, a man suspected he was a victim of several burglaries after food in his refrigerator went missing. After installing security cameras around his house, he caught a woman walking around his home while he was gone. Turns out she was a homeless woman who took residence in his home when he left the door unlocked and stayed there without his knowledge. I mean, that's creepy, and I'd be creeped out too, but that's, I mean, if you leave your door unlocked, I could see how that would happen. Oh my god, I definitely can't pronounce this. Hinterkaifeck. In 1922, it was discovered that every member of the family living at this farm, located in rural Germany, plus the maid, was brutally murdered with a pickaxe. They were all lured into the barn one by one, and there's evidence one of the younger girls was so terrified she pulled out her own hair. Afterward, the killer remained at the farm for several days. As the farm animals were fed and neighbors claimed to see smoke from the fireplace, they never checked in on them. After 100 suspects were interviewed, no one was arrested and the killer was never caught. Okay, this is going to be the last one I read. Overtown Bridge, I'm not sure. This bridge, located near Dumbarton in Scotland, I don't know that I pronounced that right, has had over 50 reports of dogs suddenly running and jumping off the bridge to their deaths. Hundreds more have jumped but survived the event. Due to this, the bridge is also called Dog Suicide Bridge. Perhaps unsurprisingly, a number of rumors have spread about paranormal activity in the area. That's really weird. You know, like I said at the beginning of this video, oftentimes at night when I can't sleep, I find myself reading stuff like this. And as disturbing as, like, you know, some of the murder ones are, I can't really tell you why I read them, why I'm drawn to reading them, or why anyone else is, or why we like to watch unsolved mysteries or crime shows on TV. Maybe there's a part of us that needed as a reminder that even if things are going crappy in your life or you're having a bad day, someone somewhere is having a really, really, really bad one. And it could always be you. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I remember when the Newtown school shooting happened. My son was in 3rd grade, I think. And I remember, like, you know, the news story was on all day about it, and I remember, like, just folding laundry and all of a sudden, like, breaking down over it, like, crying to my husband who had come home early that day how messed up that was. That anyone could do that. And, you know, as a mom, you know, I had a little kid at the time. He was now 15, almost 16, and it's awful. But for some reason, I find myself torturing myself and reading about that and reading about Columbine, which happened when I was a senior in high school. So, I don't know. I mean, obviously we don't want these things to happen. We don't wish these things to happen. We wish they wouldn't happen. So I don't really know what, maybe there's a part of me too that just doesn't understand how these things happen. Like, what goes through someone's mind that you would decide to do something like that? You know, and it goes way, in my opinion, it goes way beyond any type of bullying. Way beyond that. For someone to do something like that, something in their mental state has gone off. You know, you could argue that maybe when they were born, and grew up, they were normal, and then something they went through, you know, slowly began to make them snap. You know, I guess that could be an argument for bullying, but I really think that it goes beyond being bullied. It really does. I don't know, I can't speak for everyone that's been bullied, obviously, but it just seems like when you have been bullied to the point of breaking, it seems like you're more apt to end your own life than someone else's, but everybody's different. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking about this. It's a little too deep for an ASMR video, and no one knows the answers because every single person that does these things is different. The only thing they have in common is that they're off mentally for whatever reason. Whether they were born that way or they were groomed that way or something just snapped. But I really do think that something horrendous happening to you can really change your outlook on life and you can fall into a deep hole. Anyway. Alright. Sorry about my messy bed in the bathroom. Sorry about my messy hair. Sorry I haven't been making videos.